Hi guys. Today I will be reviewing, not ranting. I will be reviewing um, an, Unkind, an Unkindness of Ghosts by Rivers Solomon. Here is your cover. This is science fiction fantasy. And it is 349 pages of reading if you have the paperback. Probably the same thing for ebooks too. So again, this I believe this is Miss Solomon's first novel. And yeah, so for the most part, I did enjoy the book. And basically what this book is about is now you have the human race has escaped Earth, which is like dying, whatever else. And they are on this used ship in space looking for basically a new home, a new planet to live on. And on this spaceship, this space is in decks, and the decks are divided by status and race. Of course, you have the lighter to white people at the top and dark people, brown and dark people on the bottom on the bottom decks. And the book pretty much revolves around Aster. She is the main character in this book, and Aster is somewhat of a physician's assistant in this story, and she assists a doctor on a boat who they call surgeon. Her and the surgeon is high class, of course. Aster, who is black, is low class. For the most part, the book deals with a whole lot of things, not just race and status and hierarchy and things like that. There's balance in this book. There is what do you call that thing? Misogyny in this book. There's a whole lot of things going on in this book. And pretty much it's just that, you have the higher people that are in charge who want to stay in charge, and their thing is, to keep the lower class people and the dark people, at the bottom of the food chain while they remain at the top of the food chain. There's a lot going on in this book. It took me a while to finish it, but like I said, for the most part, I did enjoy it. It kind of like has like that deep South, antebellum South type of feel to the story. Everybody are dressed in like, tight coats and, long dresses and, the old suits that the guys used to wear back in the day, things like that. But basically with this story, you have Aster, who is the surgeon's assistant, and Aster has to deal with a lot of things. She has to deal with, not just, the people, on her level. And the decks are the decks on the ship, which is called the Matilda, are broken up by letters. So there's A, B, C, D, all the way down to Z decks. But with this book, Aster is trying to find out. Aster's mother died when she was a child. And when we go inside of the story, Aster is trying to find out more information about her mom, what happened to her mom. It was said that her mother committed suicide and stuff like that. But, Aster's trying to find out a little bit more. And Aster's mother was, I believe, like an engineer or something like that on the ship. So she knew a whole lot of things. And then, like I said, Aster works for this guy who's the surgeon. We also deal with a lot of sexuality in this book, because with the surgeon character, I wasn't quite, he was a man, of course, and he was a mixed race. He was only at the status that he was because of his father. His father was white, his mother was black, but the surgeon was kind of like looked down upon because his mother was black. So, you had that thing too going on. But the surgeon also dealt with queerness and things like that on that level. He was a man, but and the book also dealt with religion. He was a very religious man, and stuff like that. So the book had a whole, a whole slew of themes going on in it. But again, it revolves around Aster trying to find out about information about her mother, and then the Scavenger, who is like the head guy on the ship. The old Scavenger dies, and this new Scavenger comes in, and it's kind of like this, kind of like civil unrest and things going on like that. So Aster has to do with that, because this new Scavenger, who happens to be the surgeon's uncle, he's worse than the old one was. And yeah, it was crazy. He didn't like Aster, and he didn't like the relationship that the surgeon and Aster had. And it was just kind of crazy. But in this book, like I said, Aster's trying to find out what is going on with her mom, what happened with her mom. And she also has this friend, I guess you could call her a kind of sort of friend, which is Giselle. And her and Giselle but her and Giselle come together. Her mother kept this diary, and they start to encrypt this diary that her mother had. The book is enjoyable. To me, it is a bit long. There's a lot of dialect going on in this book, a lot of scientific dialect going on in this book. I thought it was a really excellent effort. I thought it was an excellent effort. It's a good book. And I had like some issues with some parts of the story. Like, mainly to me, I just, I guess the book kind of like over talked me. I feel like she tried to throw so many themes, like, it's a science fiction fantasy book, but I feel like with her throwing all these themes inside of the book, it kind of like gave this longevity to the book that was kind of just like, when is this all going to end? But basically what we get out of this book is Aster finding out about her mom, kind of sort of being put in the middle of this battle. This battle or this kind of like war going on between the new Scavenger and the surgeon. And things are also happening on this ship. Basically this ship is dying. It has been in space for so long, and basically the ship is kind of like falling apart. And now, and the new Scavenger, he doesn't really want the people on the ship to find out like what's really going on with it. So yielding his kind of like, authority in the wrong kind of way, it starts off this chain of events, and kind of like, the Civil War kind of like goes on in the ship. You have like, the lower deck and the higher deck kind of like going to civil war with each other, trying to, I guess kind of like, get it all together. But in the end, I won't give too much away. And then, I'm trying to make my reviews a little bit, shorter without them being so long. But in the end of it all, Aster is kind of like, thrown in the middle of all of this. Aster learns things from, decoding her mom's diary, and, just things, the things that her mother learned about the ship. And, her mother, before her mother died, her mother had actually kind of like built this kind of like shuttle. And I think her mother was trying to get off the ship because her mom found out early on that this ship was not, at the end of it all, this ship was not going to make it to a new homeland. This ship wasn't going to make it to a new planet. So basically, Aster's mother was really trying to find a way, to get off the ship. And I think the previous Scavenger found out not, what Aster's mom was trying to do, and instead of this thing being put out that she committed suicide, I think Aster's mom was actually murdered. But like I said, and this is what it comes to when Aster finds this out. The new sovereign juror, he doesn't want Aster to basically do the same thing that her mom was, going to do, is basically let everybody know on the ship, what's going on with this, and we need to find a way off of it. So this is what starts this civil war, between the lower decks and the upper decks. And like I said, Aster is in the middle of it. The surgeon is in the middle of it. It's kind of like not a romance, because I think the surgeon had love for Aster, but him dealing with his queerness and stuff like that, I think he loved her on more of a a family member type of a level. You understand that? So, at the end of it all, Aster loses some people in all of this, but she does make it by decoding her mom's diary. She actually does make it off of the ship and back to planet Earth, which is basically no longer dying. Like I said, for the most part, I like the book. Like I said, there was a lot going on with it, and that lot going on led to, a long longevity in reading this book. I've been attempting to finish this book since January of this year, so yeah. I think I just got kind of lost, with it all. I think it's just a great thing that she had going on with the book, especially putting it in that deep south type of a feel on a spaceship in the future. It's, boy, I tell you, it really lends to that theme that, the more things try to change, they stay the same, or something to that effect. But it's a good book. I like it. For her, I think this is Miss Solomon's, like I said, I think this is her debut novel, so good job. And if you like science fiction, fantasy, kind of people living on, kind of I won't say too much of a maybe a Star Trek-y kind of a feel to a novel, then you will enjoy In Unkindness of Ghosts. And that is it for me. Until the next one, later days. Bye.